I'm gonna let you lead us. I'm so glad because you suggested a few ones that were all amazing. This one I chose because I think that there's a lot of listeners out there that are going to benefit a lot from this, especially women, like you were mentioning, that little tyrant that we have in our mind that, like some people, I had I guess several weeks ago, and she named that voice in her head, and I thought it was interesting. But we decided to do quieting the critical voice. And we're gonna record this, and we're gonna make it available, and then we're gonna come back into our conversation.
Okay, great.
Diane, lead the way.
All right. So this is a meditation that I've done before, and I find it very effective. So just follow along with me. I know that we can feel very frustrated and sabotaged by a nagging critical voice that's inside of us. And maybe we're beating ourselves up about something we said or we did, or maybe you do this on a regular basis, and that critical voice has a long-term lease on your brain. It's hard to feel confident and safe when you feel that critical thought that's judging every step that you take. How can we replace that critical voice with one that has more love and compassion for ourselves? The more that we do this tapping, the easier it will be to release this critical voice. And the goal is to not ever have that critical voice, but to not let these thoughts control you. Remember, you don't need to believe every thought that you think. And by releasing stress and feeling calmness, you can quiet that critical voice and think clearly. What is your critical voice saying to you? Is it something specific, like you're not confident enough, or you're not good enough, or you're not pretty enough? Or do you find yourself criticizing everything that you do? When you think of your critical voice and how it shows up in your life, notice the sensations in your body. And I'm going to ask you all to do this now, is to just notice when you think of some of the things that you've said to yourself. Where do you feel it? Do you feel a tightness in your chest, or in your stomach, or in your throat? And are you feeling anxiety or frustration with yourself? If you can, for this tapping, pick one emotion that you're feeling, anxiety or frustration are probably in there. Maybe just the more specific you can be as you tap, it can be a little bit more effective. So if you can identify one emotion, that's great. For me, it's anxiety. And I'd like you to notice what comes up for you as you experience this feeling of what it feels like when you have this critical thinking. And I'd like you to actually measure it on a scale of 0 to 10. So 0 being you're not feeling any anxiety or you're not feeling any frustration, and 10 being this critical voice makes you crazy with anxiety or crazy with frustration. And just, I'd like you to maybe write it down and just, make a note of it for later on. The other thing I'd like to do is, before we get started, is to clarify what the tapping points are. So I'm not sure if your listeners know all this, but let's just go through this. So we start out on what we call the karate chop point, which is the side of the hand. Okay. Then we will go to the eyebrow, which is the inside of the eyebrow right here. You'll feel it on the bone. And then side of the eye is stay on that bone. You can feel it right on the side of your eyeball, right? And then the bone under your eye, under your nose, under your mouth or on the chin, and then on the collarbone. So the collarbone, is this bone right here. So just on the inner part of it. Under your arm. Now, the part under the arm is kind of like for women where your bra strap would be. So it's not like in the arm, but it's actually about an inch or two below the armpit. So it's right there. And then we will go to the top of the head. Okay, now you can do this with one hand or you can do it with two hands. That's, totally your choice. Okay. So before we start, I'd like to begin with a little groundings. I'm going to ask everyone to please place your feet on the floor. If you're barefoot, all the better. If you have shoes on and you want to take them off, great. If you have socks on, that's okay. I want you to feel your feet on the ground. And we're going to take like 3 breaths, 3 deep grounding breaths. So for the first one, I actually want you to put your hands on the rib cage. And as we breathe in, I want you to think, this is actually something we just learned, but I want you to think of an umbrella. That image is a new one of as you're breathing in, that your ribs are expanding like an umbrella. So let's just, you can close your eyes or keep them open. Let's take a nice breath in and breathe in and expand your ribs like an umbrella, the front and the back of your ribs. And as you exhale and you breathe out, you're going to let your diaphragm descend and your pelvic floor descends. And we're going to do that again. So again, you can make a sound on the exhale and think of your diaphragm and your pelvic floor relaxing down on the inhale. On the exhale, you're going to let the diaphragm come back up again. So we're going to breathe in, diaphragm and pelvic floor lower, and exhale, everything comes back into center. And one more time, your deepest breath now. Breathing in, expanding the rib cage. And breathing out. Tightening back to center, relaxing the bottom of your feet. I want you to really think of your feet as flowing into the floor, and understand that even if you're on the 25th floor of a building, that underneath that and underneath those floors is the ground, and that we're just connecting our feet to the earth. Okay. So we're going to start with the negative voice, and that's what tapping does, is we acknowledge the voice that's there in order to release it. And we want to bring it in eventually to a more positive voice. So we're going to start tapping on the karate point. So just tapping, and you're going to repeat after me, and you can repeat it out loud or in your mind. So even though this critical voice is so loud, I choose to relax and feel safe now. Even though I'm always beating myself up about something, I love and accept myself anyway. Keep tapping on the side of your hand. Even though I'm so frustrated by this voice, I choose to respond to it with compassion and understanding. Even though I'm often very hard on myself, I accept and forgive myself. We're giving voice now to how you feel so we can lower the intensity. So now we're going to go to the eyebrow point. This critical voice is so frustrating, and you can just repeat after me. It never stops talking to me. Under the eye, I'm always beating myself up about something. Under the nose. And then I beat myself up about beating myself up. Under the mouth. Why do I constantly beat myself up? On the collarbone. Why am I so hard on myself? Under the arm, either one or both. You can do both if you want. It's exhausting to be so critical of myself. Top of the head. I'm open to ways that I can change this pattern. Maybe I can take a deep breath and let some of this go. So let's just take a breath in and breathe out. And let's go to the eyebrow point. I'm really hard on myself. Side of the eye, and I criticize myself harshly. Under the eye, I feel this self-doubt. Under the nose, I'm afraid I'm not enough. Under the mouth, I'm afraid I won't succeed. Collarbone, I compare myself to others. Under the arm, and I tell myself I'm not good enough. Top of the head, it's safe for me now to acknowledge the ways I've been judging myself. Eyebrow, part of me wants to be less self-critical. Side of the eye, and another part of me doesn't. Under the eye, that part of me believes that if I criticize myself enough, under the nose, maybe I can save myself from being criticized by others. Under the mouth, if I'm hard on myself, collarbone, maybe I can avoid making other mistakes. Under the arm, my critical voice has been trying to keep me safe. Top of the head, but I now acknowledge the ways it's been holding me back. Eyebrow. Maybe we can begin to quiet this critical voice. Side of the eye. Maybe the voice can lessen. Under the eye, all of it's nagging. Under the nose, I'm so tired of beating myself up. Under the mouth, and I'm open to a new solution. Collarbone. What if I could forgive myself for not being perfect? Under the arm, what if I could let go of all this self-judgment? Top of the head, and see myself in my actions with love and compassion. Eyebrow. I choose, even if it's just for a minute, side of the eye, to shower myself with love and compassion. Under the eye, to acknowledge that I'm doing the best that I can. Under the nose, and I'm not perfect. Under the mouth, and I never will be. Collarbone, and neither is anyone else. Under the arm, and that's okay. I'm releasing this old pattern of criticism now. So now I want you to just listen to my words and stay present with your thoughts and feelings. Maybe you can close your eyes and think about speaking to someone you love, maybe a partner or a child, and imagine talking to them the way you talk to yourself. Would that person be able to thrive under that harsh criticism? Think about some of the things that you say to yourself. Not good enough, not ready enough, not smart enough. Would that person have the confidence and clarity they desire when they're constantly being told that they're not good enough? So I want us to continue tapping now. We're going to go to the eyebrow point. But again, for this round, I just want you to take the words in as you're tapping. If closing your eyes feels better, then certainly feel free to do that. I'll keep directing you on where we're tapping. So on the eyebrow, we often talk to ourselves in a way that we would never talk to someone else. We're often harder on ourselves than anyone else. And we're beginning to realize that all of this pushing and all of this self-criticism isn't moving us forward. Side of the eye. As we begin to hear our negative voice, it may begin to lose its strength. Under the eye, but you've been criticizing yourself for so long, it feels hard to break the pattern. And that's okay. And it's okay to have a critical thought. We can relax our bodies and notice our critical thoughts. Just because you have a thought, though, it doesn't mean you need to believe it. It doesn't mean you need to entertain it. With every tap, we can begin to release this voice a little. Under the nose, notice what it's like to observe the critical voice from a calm and centered place. Notice how being hard on yourself is an old pattern you've spent years practicing. With every tap, you begin to replace every critical voice with love and compassion for yourself. Under the mouth, but now you're willing to practice something else. You're beginning to question those thoughts. You begin to notice these thought patterns for what they are. They're simply thoughts. They're simply a pattern that you can entertain or you can let go of. And often these thoughts are there because we thought criticizing was the way to get what we wanted in life. Collarbone, we can begin to see that it's through self-love and compassion that we actually change. It takes practice, and right now and right here, you are practicing feeling calm and confident. We can observe these thoughts from a calm and confident place. These thoughts are not in control. You are. Under the arm, it's through forgiveness of ourselves and others that we create the joy, abundance, and emotional freedom we want in our lives. Simply think about the confidence that self-love and calmness brings. How do you sit and how do you breathe when you are calm and can feel compassion for yourself? Just practice that for a moment now. And as you practice, notice that with every breath, you're feeling calmer. And those critical words may seem even a bit silly. Top of the head. As we realize this, we can thank our critical voice for all it tries to do for us. We can ask that voice to be one of self-love and compassion from here on out. Feeling the love and compassion, feeling grounded and calm and confident. You don't need to know all the answers. You don't need to arrive anywhere in order to feel good now. That critical voice feels so uncomfortable. Sorry, I meant to say the eyebrow point. Now you can repeat after me. This critical voice feels so uncomfortable, side of the eye, because it's not my truth. Under the eye, the reasons these the reason these beliefs have caused me stress under the nose is because they aren't true. Under the mouth, I recognize my critical voice. Collarbone, I accept my critical voice. Under the arm, it's safe to quiet my critical voice. Top of the head, as my body begins to relax, more and more, confidence and clarity feels easier. Eyebrow, no matter what thoughts I have, side of the eye, I come back to my body and feel present and feel my power. Under the eye, allowing myself to feel relaxed and grounded. Under the nose, before I make any decisions. Under the mouth, I am more powerful than I think. Collarbone, I am further along than I realize. Under the arm, I have within me the confidence I need. Top of the head, I am a force for good. Let's just say that out loud together. Breathe in. I am a force for good. And just one more time. I am a force for good. And as you stop tapping, just take one more deep breath and notice how you feel. And notice the thought or breakthroughs that you may have had or other ideas that may have come up, and rate the intensity now of how you feel on a scale of 0 to 10. In those few minutes, we began to rewire our brains to quiet the critical voice. It surely will. Just bathe in the love and compassion and listen to that voice for yourself. And when that critical voice comes back again, which it will, tell it, thank you for your opinion. I appreciate you, critical voice. I appreciate you, brain, for trying to keep me safe. But in this moment, I choose love. I choose to forgive and accept myself for just how I am. So the more that you do this process, the more it will be replaced by authentic feelings of love and compassion for yourself and for others. So I hope this practice was helpful to everyone. And I just would like everyone to just take a nice breath in and let the golden shower, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but just allow yourself to feel the good energy of love and compassion for yourself.
Thank you, Diane.
Yeah.